Welcome to The Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
Are you ambitious? I certainly am. Now, you might have a negative association with the word ambition, but here's why I'm such a big fan. Ambition is really about wanting to make a big difference in the world by being yourself and being well rewarded for it. You know, at some point, you realize that the divine is actually begging you to step up and share your complete divine self, faults and all. Because when you do, and you show up as your full, authentic self, that's when we all win. When you give fully is when you receive the most on all levels. Well, there's a lady who has made a study of how ambitious women can truly have it all. That's why I'm delighted. I'm so excited to chat with Amira Alvarez today. She's the founder and CEO of The Unstoppable Woman. She's also the host of the top 2% podcast worldwide, The Unstoppable Woman podcast. Amira is an entrepreneur, a private mentor, and a trusted advisor for the ambitious woman. She inspires already accomplished women to achieve further financial wealth and success while leading fulfilling lives. After achieving a remarkable 5-fold income increase in just 1 year and building a multi-million-dollar company, Amira found a way to create harmony between ambition, spaciousness, and contentment. Well, Amira was unwilling to compromise her drive for success, so she crafted a methodology for an exquisite life, a method that guides individuals to embrace their inner drive while finding deep fulfillment. Her path guides high-achieving women towards a life that is rich both inside and out. Amira knows that we really, truly can have it all because she lives it. I'm going to have what you're having, Amira. Welcome to the Abundance Journey.
Thank you so much, Elaine. What a great intro. I love your framing of ambition, and I couldn't agree more. I have things to add to that, of course, but for me, ambition is like, it used to be a thing that I felt like I had to keep under wraps, like I was going to be too much for this world or alienate people with my drive. And it wasn't until I fully embraced that the abundance came. So
absolutely. I totally relate to that because I'm a little over the top, right? I used to be worried, well, I should tone it down. I shouldn't be quite so exuberant and enthusiastic. But I experienced the divine as effervescent joy. Just this over the top, happy, excited, delighted, silly, playful. And so I just keep getting guided over and over again. Look, show up with that energy because people need to be invited to play. When it's all work, I don't work anymore. I decided work is too heavy. It's confining and limiting. And it's only about me. But when I play, then I get to celebrate life and I invite others in to play with me. It's a totally different vibe.
Totally different energy. And it's how you're driven, right? Like if you think of ambition and drive as like what we are called to create, we each have an individual energy that goes with that. And that's your drive, your ambition, how you're called to create, serve, share in this world. And so I think ambition shows up differently for different people. And it certainly showed up in a variety of different ways for me. Like when I first started the company, The Unstoppable Woman, and had that 5-fold income increase in 1 year, my drive was much more hard-hitting, if you will. Like I had a lot of the hustle, go hard. I had spirit. I had an open heart. I had ethics. I had all of that. But I had like a work ethic like nobody's business, right? And that's how I that was the full expression of who I was at the time. Now that's
Oh, man.
evolved.
You've come so far. And, before we get off on a tangent, obviously I'm really into this topic because I'm like wanting to jump in with both feet. I want to connect our energy, and not just yours and mine, but
Yeah.
the energy of the audience, as well as the energy of the God of our understanding, the energy of the divine. When we all get on the same page and then we share our intention, everything starts to flow in the right direction. So we're going to do two things together. We're going to start by breathing together 3 times. And as we breathe in through the nose, think the words I am. And as we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. And then I'll let you rest in that divine grace for just a moment. And then I'll read the intention. Now, the intention is how we want to feel and what we want to create in our time together. And as we soak in that intention, we're going to hold it in silence for 78 seconds. I know I'm the only show that does this, I'm convinced. But the challenge is, in order to really connect with that divine energy and lock into that signal, think about the intention as kind of like typing into a spiritual GPS. This is where we want to go and how we want to feel about it. But all the research shows that human beings have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. A goldfish starts life anew every 8 seconds. And when you're that distracted and you're that busy and you're thinking about that, it's really hard for the God of your understanding to lock into that higher vibration that you want. So we're going to hold it in silence for 78 seconds. There are 2 different activities that will help you focus during that 78 seconds. The first one is just pick 2 or 3 words out of the intention that feel expansive and uplifting. They're a higher vibration that you truly want to embody. And say those words over and over again to yourself in your mind during those 78 seconds. The second thing, notice what happens with your body. You might feel some energy moving around. Maybe you get a chill up your spine, or you feel sudden heat in your hands. You want to take a deep sigh and your shoulders drop. Anything like that is just a sign that the divine has connected with your energy and is already starting to move it towards the intention. So you're in a great space. Cool?
Cool. I love it.
Okay. So let's breathe together 3 times. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. In love and light, we hold the intention that we embrace our divine ambition to be our true selves in a way that makes a difference. So we savor our lives, experiencing deep peace, grace, and fulfillment every day. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. Give thanks, and so it is. Wow, there's a lot of energy around this, Amira. This is a super hot topic.
I can feel that too.
What was that like for you?
Mm, you know, it, I just closed my eyes and tapped into it, and the the clarity for me was around savoring life. There's something really powerful around that, and uh, I just have a really strong connection to spirit, and that the the frame that you put on that, the lead up to it, um, just being able to close my eyes and tap in as part of a public experience of myself, of my work is an honor, right? We don't get a chance to do that. So
Yeah. And the cool thing is, we've connected our energy, and that is a permanent connection. It's you, me, everyone who's listening or watching, and the divine. It is a permanent connection. And so, when you are in that space of truly wanting to be your true, authentic self and make a difference in the world, I was thinking about it, and I realized that there is a massive difference between accomplishment and fulfillment. And you are super passionate about helping women who have achieved a lot in their lives, but helping them bridge the gap between those two so that they truly experience that profound peace. Why are you so passionate about this?
because I've lived it.
Yeah.
I think we teach what we need to learn, that old adage, but also we teach what we've lived, what the truths that we've experienced ourselves and want to share, right? The evolutions and the transformations we've wanted to share. So I made mention of sort of my go hard, driven, it, and I love that part of me still, and I loved who I was then. But there was a point where I got to a certain level of financial success in my business, um, feeling like I had reached a, a place that I was very proud of and comfortable in my uh, abilities as a mentor, coach, advisor. I really felt, okay, I've reached, not that we ever stop growing, but I can call myself a master coach here, and I was asking myself, what now? Because I had used a certain pattern to create the achievements and the accomplishments in my life. And that was a pick the goal, pick the thing I wanted to create, whether it was a financial outcome or a business outcome. It could be personal life too, but it was focus on that and receive the signs, not be cut off from it. I never was cut off from it. Receive the signs, but then hustle, hustle, hustle. Like I went hard in terms of taking action. And I knew I would reach the accomplishment. I got to the goal, and there would be this moment of like celebration. But then there was this other moment that came, almost at the same time. That was like, oh, now what? And I could feel myself going and almost struggling to pick another goal so that I could have that journey of success again. I was addicted to the drive and the journey, and in some ways this kind of addiction that's better than heroin, right? Like I was addicted to doing something productive in this world, right? And certainly there was financial reward to it, but it came from a place of if we divide the world very black and white into scarcity and fear, and I think there's continuum there. Scarcity and fear on one side and abundance and love on the other side. But I do think there's continuum there. If we do it very, black and white, either or, that drive was from a place of fear, not love, and running away from not enoughness, if you will. And I knew I didn't want to live that way anymore, but I didn't know how to create from any other place. I would do it again and again, was quite successful at it. And I would continue. I had this experience again and again and again, call me not a fast learner, but I didn't know how to do it differently. And the universe just kept bopping me on the head, saying, wake up, wake up, wake up. And at some point you wake up. And for me, I woke up, I was like, okay, this is not how I want to create anymore. And I took a different path, and it's been, if my spiritual connection and ability to manifest was powerful before, this then became a different way, and it amplified that, and it was a much more beautiful way to create in this world. And I don't think I've lost my ambition, but it shows up differently for me now.
That is so beautiful. Amira, I love what you're saying, because I realize life is an infinity symbol. We're always on this perpetual loop. There's the drive, ambition, and we achieve, yay! And then, what's next? Drive. So it's this constant, yay, yay, over and over and over again. Now, I always ask this one question of my guests. I've never had the same answer twice, which I love, because we're all so different. But given the kind of work that you do, how would you define abundance?
Yeah. So for me, I've heard many different definitions of this, and I'm gonna share one that I really love that's not my own, and then I'll share the one that I like, how I play off of that. So the one that I've heard that I quite love is the ability to do anything I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want. Right? Like this concept of abundance is total freedom. And I love that. Like, when I heard that, it connected to a deep part of my soul. But I think abundance, and I don't know that I have the same definition every day. So ask me tomorrow, I might have a different definition. But in your intention today that you set for the show, I really tapped into the idea of savoring life. And this is abundance to me. This is the luxury of life, right? This is like, I had a conversation with Spirit recently, and it was all about luxury, because I like pretty things, Elaine. Like, I like I have a quite definite enjoyment of the good things in life, whether it's beautiful sheets or a nice car or whatever, right? Like those things. But it's really not about the expense or the flash. It's about that quality of luxury, that feeling of luxury. And to me, what that means is this connection to truth, authenticity, things that are like, that have had love put into them. So craftsmanship has love put into it. So that to me is like, there's a savoring of life. That to me is luxurious, that connection. And the more of that I have, the more abundant my life is.
I totally get that, and I can really relate to it. I feel the same way. I'm really blessed in an amazing husband, and we inherited an ancient Rolls Royce from my parents that was derelict, and it was coming apart. And so we were rebuilding it, and as we started taking body panels off, we could see where the craftsman had signed things, and nothing is a straight line. Everything is curved, and we call it carcheology, because it's like archaeology of a car. You feel like the craftsmen are standing behind you and kind of pointing out some of the details and things that they did. You really sense their passion, their commitment, their desire, their enthusiasm, their generosity of spirit in what they do. And when you're tapping into that, it's a different kind of connection. It's truly an energetic, divine connection that crosses timelines, that crosses everything. There is no such thing as time. It's everywhere, every when is right now. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I love your definition. Now, I know that periodically people get stuck, and you're working with people who are very accomplished. They're used to just going for what they want. They have the resources to get support and get help. Where do they typically get stuck? What's that block that they
That's really
discover?
good. I think that's really good. I want to make. I'm going to answer
Sure.
that question, but I want to connect that those craftsmen who were putting their love into the Rolls Royce. We could put it into use different examples, but that example, that is drive. That is
Oh, yeah.
ambition.
Yeah.
Right? It is sharing what you're good at in this world, and 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 with love. Okay. Now, most of the women that I work with, they've built businesses. They're either founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs themselves, or they are work in a corporate setting and are at the top of their game there. And what they've had to give is this brilliance in business, in they're creative in this space. And they might not see themselves as a master craftsman, but like them to start seeing that they're very creative in this lane. This is what they're extremely good at in their drive and their ambition. Maybe up until now, it's been about building financial wealth for their families. Maybe it's just been about how far they can go in their career, okay, and ambition in that way. I think most people have some quality in them that even as they're doing that, they want to do a good job and help people and do right by the companies that they're building and working for and their teams, all of that. But they get stuck when they at that point that I mentioned in my own experience, where they've gotten to that place and they're asking themselves, is this all there is? Right? Like, I'm doing the same thing again. I got to that place. I'm setting my new goal. Maybe they have constantly rolling goals and, ever going for more, but they're kind of exhausted by that move. And they're conditioning. In fact, the only way they know how to create is through that channel. And the thought that they could do it differently has landed for them, but they have no idea how that is. And it scares them because they really would like to do it differently, but they don't want to lose the success that they've created. They've worked too hard at that.
I
So
get
that's
that.
really a stopping point for women. And really not having, I'm going to add one thing and then hand it back to you, and really not having someone who gets them at the level that they're working at. That's really important. It's one thing to be talking to someone who's built a business and has gone through this versus someone who hasn't. They're different experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a blessing that they have access to someone like you. It's really interesting. A few months ago, I was in my kitchen and I was doing dishes. And I was just kind of musing over how, sometimes you've got a project and it's super easy. Everything just comes together like no big deal. And then there's other times when you're working on something and it is a slog. I mean, roadblock after roadblock, challenge, issues, you name it. It's just not going anywhere quickly. And I was just kind of wondering, I wonder why that is. And I suddenly felt and heard a very loud and forceful voice in my body that said, when you deny your power is denied to you. When you acknowledge your power is shown to you. You are more powerful than you can imagine. And I really love what you're saying here, that they have tried the same old thing. It's been successful, but they've been in that track and they've worn a groove so deep into that same old track. They know there's more. They're just not sure how to get where they could. And so if you keep with the old track, you're denying your power, because honestly, life feels like an infomercial. But wait, there's more. I mean, the divine is constantly showing me, look, you're never done. We brought you here for spiritual growth, because when you face the contrast, the difference between what is wanted and isn't wanted, that friction gives you a choice, the superpower of choice. You either step back in fear and go with what you know and the same old, or you step forward with grateful curiosity and love. You don't know what's coming, but you know you will expand and grow through this experience. And every time you step forward, you are literally at the expansion joint of the divine. You are expanding the divine in that moment. And that's why you're alive, and that's why you're here. So it's no wonder that someone who's truly ambitious, who really wants to live at their highest level, they got that infomercial call. But wait, there's more. Right?
Yeah. And I think some of us are slower to learn that than others. And I knew that in the business realm, right? I knew that, like, oh, I can lean in, I can take risks. This is the universe calling me forward. This is the growth that I need to have. And I had that super clear in my business. But then when I thought, oh, I want to do business, but radically differently than how I have been. I don't want to um, exhaust myself in the way that I was. And I think there's an important tangential side note here. I think in my 40s, I just had so much more energy than I did in my 50s, right? Like, I think there's a biological, and if someone was listening to, if I was listening to me in my 40s, I would have thought my energy is never going to run out. Okay. Is never going to, like, this is just who I am. I'm the Energizer Bunny. I can go 12 hours. I can go 14 hours, right? Let's go. Come on. And, when somewhere around 50, I'm 54 now. So like somewhere around 50, started realizing that I didn't have that kind of energy anymore. But I was a real slow learner, Elaine. I kept thinking like I could go at that same level. And because that was my identity. And we're very caught up in our identities of who we are. You can even hear it in how I talk about how I was. So I think that there's leaning in the places where you feel comfortable. And then there's leaning in the places where you don't feel comfortable. You don't feel competent there. You don't feel confident in the unknown in this area of your life, right? And
so true.
That's a big difference in and an important distinction.
You bring in a really, really great point, and it's all about how energy flows and moves, because you do have different levels of energy and a different focus at different times in your life. And it's always interesting to me because I notice that whenever I want something to change in my world, I have to be willing to change something internally first before I get that transformation. What if you notice your clients have to be willing to shift inside before they can really experience that outcome that they want?
A lot of it is trust and how trust is showing up for them. There's, many super successful women were really good at our lives, but we also control the variables. We've learned how, like, we're great bosses, right? We're great leaders, but that also means that we're the ones that are setting the frame on everything, and leaning in and trusting and having more of an easygoing, go with the flow attitude that allows divine guidance, right? That allows spirit. And I don't, when I say divine guidance, I don't know who your audience is, but when I say divine guidance and spirit, I have a very clear connection to what that means for me. And it's not devoid of connection with the practical realities of this 3D here and now world. And I think my woman, the woman that resonates with me, is very practical. She's like, I want my outcomes, right? And to have the exquisite life, to feel the sweetness of life, to feel that sweet deliciousness of life, right? And to quote unquote have it all, which I'd love to define what that means as well, requires that you open to experiences that are beyond your wildest dreams. You know?
So true. So true. I'm continually reminded that I have my context of what's happening and why it's happening and all this stuff. And then there's divine context. And from divine context, absolutely everything I experience is here to help me grow spiritually. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's good or bad, doesn't matter. That's not in the definition that from the divine context. The only thing that matters is, am I truly leveraging this experience to see how I am growing on a spiritual level? And I really enjoyed what you said, because an exquisite life is really about who you want to be ultimately, how you want to self-express, and being driven to express who you are in a way that benefits other people. That's when you get rewarded. So recognizing that it's not just about me, it's really through me. That's the true goal. That's the true action that we're after. Now, obviously, you've worked with a lot of people. You really know your stuff. For those of us getting going here, and maybe we're in a stuck space, we know what we know, and we want to go beyond the old patterns, what would be one or two baby steps that we could take that would kind of get us going and open us up to possibility?
Yeah. So when I think about having it all, right, there's the marketing version of that. There's sort of the flip, the keeping up with the Joneses version of having it all. And I think a really great first step is to define for yourself, and sometimes this takes days, weeks, months, like cogitate on what your true desires are. Because you can't have it all if the all is not your own desires, if it's the social constructs out there that you've bought into. Okay. But most of us know very clearly in our heart of hearts what we truly desire. So for me, full transparency, built multi-million-dollar business, had been in relationships, but I didn't feel loved. Okay. So what I really wanted, that was my core wound. People are interested in the concept of core wounds, talk a lot about it on the homepage of our website. That was my core wound, being unlovable. And it was something that I created because that was my identity over and over, like recreated. I didn't create the core wound. Well, in a way I did, but that identity of being someone who was unlovable, I kept creating again and again and again. But that small, quiet voice was saying, what you really want is to feel loved. And I built a business, a very successful business, to distract myself from that, to fill that void, to not look at that. And so in order to do it differently, and we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I would ask you to really look and take an honest reflection on what is it that you really want. So for me, that was really hard because I grew up in the 70s in a very strongly feminist family. The idea of like being in an exquisite love relationship as a goal and desire was antithetical to what it meant to be a strong woman, right? And I knew consciously that made no sense, but emotionally, subconsciously, on the identity level, that was really challenging for me. So just using that as a frame, the first thing would be to look at what you truly desire. What are the components of an exquisite life, right? And what would having it all look like to you? And it probably is not everything, but it's some key things. And then, yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. So once you have that clear, it's really important to recognize that all the denial is going to come up. Okay. And that is part of the process. and just kind of, if you could take a witness perspective and go like kind of wave to it and, oh yeah, that's me saying I can't have that. Oh yeah, that's me saying I don't have time for this. Oh yeah, that's me distracting myself again. Oh yeah, that's me saying it's impossible, not for me, right? All of that. And there's some big tear moments I've had with clients around this, and there's moments when they're by themselves having this, and sometimes they're poignant, sometimes they're just distraction, and they're just like, get away, I need to focus over here. So just know all that denial is going to come up, but that true desire is not going to go away. So we might as well attend to it in the most honorable way that we can. Then there are some things around these core wounds and that need to be attended to. I don't like to spend a huge amount of time looking backwards, but it's often incredibly healthy and profound to recognize where something got locked into our system and to reframe that. When we reframe it, and it can happen very quickly, we get freed from that. Okay. And then we get to start building a different identity. Okay. And that's where being crystal clear on who you want to be, that new person. Like I do this work on myself all the time. And, I'm recognizing, oh, this person, she's this. This is her personality. There's a gap. I'm not that. I want to be this. So then there's the bridging of the gap. And this is where the practicality comes in, which is on this, we can shift it in the 5D. There's a meditation practice. There's a real transformation that happens on the 5D, but then we have to live it in the 3D. And that's where the rubber meets the road, because we can imagine it all we want in the 5D, but if we keep coming back to our old habits and old personalities and old identities and our conditioned way of behavior, we never create the new thing. And I was able to create a beautiful, manifestation of love for me. And it's even quite challenging to talk about being unlovable. Like, it's part of my story, but I don't have a lived bodily sense of what that is anymore. It's like it happened to someone else, right? I use it as an example, but it's hard for me to like go, oh yeah, that's it's no longer who I am.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful, Amira. And you bring up something that is really top of mind for me. We live in divine duality. We live as human beings with all our faults and foibles, and we also have higher consciousness at the same time. And when we're heads down, just focused on the getting things done, we're in our human action-oriented selves. And yet, when we remember to invite in that higher consciousness, invite in the divine, the infinite intelligence, we get ideas and inspiration, and we open ourselves up. It's kind of like the difference between tunnel vision, when you're just really focused on getting things done, and then activating your peripheral vision so that you pick up on little tiny things and nuances that can really contribute to the outcome that you want. I love your process for going deep and going inside and looking at what do you love about yourself and what are you ready to let go of that isn't serving you anymore. Everything was given to you as a gift to help you expand on a spiritual level, and it's ready. You're ready. It's time for more. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I could keep you here all day, Amira. I so love what you're doing. I love where you're going with this. One of the things that we love to do on our show, we like to turn the tables on our guests, because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what is something that we can do to support you?
Oh, thank you. So I really feel like I've already received a gift in terms of the format of your interview and your podcast, the intention setting, the holding space, the calling that in, the great questions. So thank you for that. I would love for you to hold the intention that the right women who resonate with this message go to my website and read, and if they connect with what's there and this message, that they book a call with me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll do that. Wow. Amira, what an incredible experience. I've got 3 pages of notes because you had so many brilliant insights that you shared with us today. Oh my gosh. And I have to pick just one for the Activate Abundance segment. You're making my life a little difficult.
It's a good problem to have, Elaine.
It is a lovely problem to have. I'm not really complaining. I'm celebrating. Thank you so much for being here today. What a treat. What a treasure you are. Oh man, stick around. We're going to activate abundance in just a minute. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador. And I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Amira is amazing. I mean, honestly, this woman gave so much in this conversation today. I am just blown away. I really had to think hard about what to do this segment on because there was so much to work with. Step 1 is always gratitude. Gratitude is the ignition switch to higher consciousness. And when we step in with grateful curiosity, we are open and present to truly receive the many blessings that are there for us. So always we start with gratitude. And I'm so grateful we got to have this amazing conversation with Amira. That was really, really cool. Step 2 is to acknowledge something you heard that was a bit of an aha for you. And one of the things that Amira was saying that has been a barrier for the people that she works with is they need to learn how to trust and trust how it's showing up for them. They're so used to being leaders and in control that they feel like if they don't know and they can't anticipate exactly what's going to happen for you, how many of us have been guilty of that? Then we don't want to go there, right? Like we should already know everything about it. No, 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 no. We are in partnership with the divine. And one of the things that she said, when you have a more relaxed attitude, that allows that divine guidance to come in so that you're truly functioning as your full self, because you're not just that human drive self. You are also your higher consciousness. And if you focus on only one or only the other, you're not a whole and complete being. That's why you struggle. So step 2 was acknowledge that aha for you. Step 3 is to appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, all of a sudden, every time I feel resistance, and I'm noticed that my resistance is because I feel like I don't have control over the situation. I don't know what to expect. This is the new adventures coming my way. That's a reminder to me to step into grateful curiosity because that's when I'm fully present in the moment, open and welcoming in the blessings that are here for me right now. That is the fastest way for me to tap in and tune in with the divine so that I receive those blessings. So, wow, what a great reminder that we get to trust in the God of our understanding. We aren't supposed to have all the answers. We aren't supposed to know exactly what's coming. We're supposed to push towards here's what we want to accomplish, and then divine, guide me to help me accomplish that. What ideas, what resources, what could show up for me, and let it happen in perfect divine timing. Step 4 is to activate it. This is where we take the concept and turn it into tangible physical reality. There are 3 different ways that we can do this. The first way is to schedule time to get it done. Now, I also like to consider journaling or meditation in this category because we have to schedule time. We're busy people, and if we don't make it a priority, it doesn't happen. So schedule time for you to connect with the divine, to be open to receive divine guidance. It's amazing the messages that can come through. The second way is to create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, you know what? I'm getting wrapped around the axle. I'm feeling this resistance. I'm feeling some discomfort. Oh, that's my trigger that it's time to invite the divine to party. Let's play. Let's talk about this project that I'm working on. What ideas do you have for me? So I can get into that alpha state, that brainwave alpha state, where you look up 20 degrees and do those 3 deep breaths. That's the fastest way to get right into alpha. Think a little bit about what that issue is. Allow the divine to come in with ideas. And meanwhile, you just think beautiful thoughts. Savor this space of divine grace. And then the next time you think about that challenge, ideas will come to you. Resources will flow in that you never expected. You couldn't plan for this stuff. It is all designed to support you and help you. Okay, the third way that we can activate abundance is to work with an accountability buddy. An abundance buddy is what I like to say, because they understand where you're coming from. They can see when you're tightening up your body language. It's like you're restricting yourself or you're trying to control the situation. And they can call you on your stuff lovingly because you asked them to. They see you and they can tell when you're accidentally stepping back in fear instead of stepping forward in the fullness of who you truly are. Those are 3 different ways that we activate abundance and make it real and tangible. Step 5, celebrate your progress. This is part of the infinity loop. And every time you take a step, you're inviting the divine in. You're inviting all of those around you to play with you, and people you haven't even met yet, people you had no idea you were impacting. Every single thing you think, feel, say, and do ripples out to impact our world. Thank you for being the fullness of who you truly are. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.